Well, good morning, PressProsMagazine.com readers. Glad to have you with us here on a beautiful Wednesday morning. We have basketball on the site this morning. Jackson Center. Wow, where did the Tigers offense come from last night? They were all over Fairlawn, and our Sunny folks covered it and has the photos of many of the outstanding players and plays in that game. So make sure you get to PressProsMagazine.com and read that. That's on the homepage. You can also, of course, find it on the Shelby County League page. As for basketball around the area last night, thought Botkins and Fort Loramie might be a tighter game than it turned out to be. Botkins gets the W, 48-30. So the Botkins squad under head coach Phil Groves, first-year coach, succeeding Sean Powell, playing some good defense there with the Plyman brothers and all the other guys that they have back from last season's state championship team. As for other games, Troy tastes defeat for the first time. They go down at Vandalia Butler, 46-41. No, actually, that game was at home at Troy, so that's a tough loss for the Trojans right there. Miami East pulls out a tight one, 52-51 over Milton Union. And Bethel takes down Lehman, another close one, 51-49. If you want to know where you can find all these scores, well, of course, PressProsMagazine.com on the Moeller Brew Barn basketball scoreboard. We've got you covered, right? Of course. Now, today is National Signing Day, the early signing period for college football. A little bit of a new thing. It's been around for a year or two, but the Buckeyes are cashing in early. They're getting a lot of guys to sign this morning. So I wanted to talk a bit with you about the excitement over five-star this, five-star that. How do these guys pan out over time? Because a lot of times, my experience has been covering Ohio State for 20 to 25 years, you hit about 50% on recruits. So it's hard to believe a five-star could ever fail, right? Well, let's go through the top 10 rated Buckeyes of all time. And here's the caveat. You're going to say, what about Chris Spielman? What about Archie Griffin? What about some of the great players of all time, Bruce? Well, they existed in the days pre-star ratings and pre-recruiting services, and so they don't factor in. So we're talking probably about the last 20 years of recruits, maybe 25. So here are the top 10 Buckeyes, and you let me know whether you think they made a transformative impact on the program when you see guys signing today like Gabe Powers, the five-star. Actually, Gabe Powers is a four-star linebacker out of Marysville. C.J. Hicks, I think, is a five-star linebacker that the Buckeyes are signing today. So here are the top 10. Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers, 2 snaps as an Ohio State Buckeye. Now he's off to Texas. Number 2, Terrell Pryor. Terrell Pryor, yeah, he beat Michigan 3 times, started as a freshman. But that team, I think, would have been better off culture-wise if they'd have stuck with St. Henry's Todd Beckman at quarterback. I don't think they would have been any worse than they were with Terrell Pryor. Maybe that would have ingrained some humility in Terrell Pryor, and he might not later on have led the Buckeyes down the primrose path to NCAA probation. Number 3 recruit of all time, Ted Ginn Jr. All right, there's a guy who hit it big for the Buckeyes. Number 4 recruit all time, he's still playing, JT Tuamilau from the state of Washington. We think he'll be good. So far, he's not exactly the reincarnation of Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, or Chase Young. Number 5 highest rated recruit, he's also still playing with JT Tuamilau on the defensive line. Jim Knowles, the new defensive coordinator, have some fun with Tuamilau and Jack Sawyer next year. Jack Sawyer comes in at number 5. Number 6, also a current Buckeye, Julian Fleming. Are you noticing a trend? Yeah, these guys, seems like the modern guy gets higher rated than the guy who was in the past. So Julian Fleming, he's not even the best receiver in his class at Ohio State right now. That's Jackson Smith and Jigba. And we think Julian Fleming will get a shot next year with Garrett Wilson, most likely, and Chris Olave going to the NFL. But right now, not that big of a deal. Number 7 highest rated recruit of all time at Ohio State, Noah Spence. You say, Noah Spence? I don't remember Noah Spence. Well, Noah Spence played on Urban Meyer's second team at OSU. He was a defensive lineman, transferred, had some, shall we say, off-field issues. But Noah Spence did eventually enter the NFL, just not as an Ohio State Buckeye. Number 8, no doubt, Nick Bosa, big-time star. If you watch the Bengals on Sunday, Joe Burrow seeing Nick Bosa in his dreams. No, actually in his nightmares. The number 9 highest rated recruit of all time, and this is the second to oldest guy on this list, is Chris Beanie Wells. Chris Beanie Wells came out of Northeast Ohio, had some great Michigan games. But if you're listing the greatest backs in Ohio State history, would you list Chris Wells in the top 10? Maybe. You wouldn't list him in the top 5. So, number 9 highest rated recruit of all time, probably about where he ranks on the list of Ohio State running backs. And then number 10, Sammy Maldonado. Sammy Maldonado. I think Sammy was out of New Jersey. Sammy was supposed to be all that. All these guys were supposed to be all that. Was Sammy Maldonado all that? He played. He didn't leave. But Sammy the Bull Maldonado, just a little bit too slow, not quick enough, something. He never really got the ball at Ohio State like he did in high school, where he was, like all these guys, bigger, stronger, faster. So keep that in mind as Ohio State signs what will surely be another highly ranked recruiting class. But time tells the truth on recruits, as it has on these 10, as it will on the 20 or so that the Buckeyes signed today. Remember to follow us on Instagram, press_pros, student sections. Follow us. We're going to have a great student section contest later on in the year. Keep your eye on the PressPros Twitter site, @PressProsMag. That's where you'll find our interview on the Monday Huddle with Scott Elkert, the head coach at Jackson Center. Interesting what he said about his offense that night and what we saw on the court last night. And then, of course, you can follow us on Facebook as well. PressProsMagazine.com, your site for all the best photos, all the best narrative writing. We appreciate you guys following us. We appreciate our sponsors. Thank them when you see them. And stay tuned right here for the latest from the teams you care about at PressProsMagazine.com. I'm Bruce Hooley. Have a great, great Wednesday.